Hello and welcome to science. All right, you guys, we're going to get started today. It is our first day, our first official day of content, and I'm so excited. I am sorry that I cannot be here live with you, but I have the next best thing, which is this recording. Yay! You can see this is our welcome screen. Most of our welcome screens will have a lot of things for you. I want you guys to make sure that you are grabbing the link to the Google form that is in the chat. And then there is a game, and it is in the upper left here. That's for you guys to play to make sure that you're ready for your quiz. So make sure you grab those links. Hang on to them. Don't get lost in those just yet, because we are going to get started with our lesson today. The materials list for today, it did include white paper, colored pencils or markers. You could have lined paper. You can have a paper towel. You could have markers, charcoal, whatever it takes for you to write today. As long as you have something to write on and something to write with, that'll be perfect. So make sure you've got this materials with you. Before we get going too far, I do want to share with you our essential questions. How do the 5 spheres interact? There are spheres of the earth, and we're going to talk about those today. And how would you sort and classify features in Earth spheres? These are going to be some important things for us to answer. They will help you with your quiz and the Unit 1 test, and a lot of this information is to be carried over to other units that we'll be using and studying later on in the year. And again, before we get going too far, I want to give you guys your to-do list. This is a month at a glance kind of a to-do list, and you know I like my to-do list. So here it is. For those of you that want an easy to read, easy to follow, month at a glance to-do list, take a snip of this screen. You're welcome. This will make sure that you're keeping track and keeping up with your materials. By tomorrow, we need to have that 1.06 quiz completed, classify Earth spheres, and we're going to use today's lesson to study for that. The learning targets that we'll be going over today are define the biosphere as a zone of life on the Earth that includes all living things. Explain that the Earth is made up of layers internally and on the surface, like a giant onion, just lots of little layers. Describe the features of the layers or spheres that make up the Earth system. We have the atmosphere, biosphere, lithosphere, hydrosphere, and magnetosphere. We're going to go over all of those today. And it's going to move a little bit quick because we only have a little bit of recording time on this particular platform. But stick with me and we'll get this done. To take notes today, I have a really awesome way for you guys to take notes if you're doing paper pencil. If you aren't, I want you to open up your PowerPoint slide deck, and I want you guys to split that into 6 sections or 6 different slides. Just get 6 blank slides going for your Unit 1 notes. If you're doing paper and pencil, you might want to section off a piece of paper. I just have plain typing paper, but you could have lined paper. Again, any piece of paper will do, even poster board, as long as we can fold it. I'm going to show you guys how to do a hot dog fold. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this piece of paper, and you can see the long way is facing towards you. And I'm going to roll this paper like a telescope. And you can see this inside flap right here is overlapping the outside flap about equal in length. And so what we're going to do is we're going to smash it down right about here. Okay, so we're going to smash this down. And this is going to be a trifold. So it's going to give us 3 sections. I'll just show you that. What I'm doing is creasing edges here. And if I unfold it, I have 3 sections. But we need 6. So we're going to refold it. And we're going to make our hot dog into a hamburger by swinging one side over to the other and creating a small square. And we're going to make sure that we crease along our fold. It's creased. And then when I unfold it, ta-da, you get 6 nice squares. Okay. And what we're going to do is we're going to put 1 sphere in each square. So with the name of the sphere, the definition, and a unique characteristic. Guys, that's what you're going to need for your quiz and your test. So the name of the sphere, the definition, and a unique characteristic. That's your goal for today in each one of those squares. We're going to start off here by taking a look at all of the spheres we're studying. We're going to study the magnetosphere, the lithosphere. Some people refer to this as the geosphere, but our intents and purposes and for our course, we're calling it the lithosphere. The biosphere, the hydrosphere, and the atmosphere. So get ready, because here we go. The first sphere that we're going to take a look at is the hydrosphere. Okay, now the hydrosphere, this is all, here we go, all liquid water on Earth. Okay, so that's all of our liquid water on Earth. Salt water, you want to think about the oceans. Fresh water, those would be your lakes and your rivers and your streams, ponds, those sorts of things are your fresh water. And the groundwater, this is water that's found underneath the surface of the earth. Sometimes we pump that out. It's called a well. You can also have just aqua pools. They'll be stuck, aquifers, they're stuck underneath the earth. They're way deep down. There is ice pictured right over here. We've got some icebergs floating in this water. That's a part of the cryosphere, technically, so we're going to leave ice out of this and go with the liquid water only. So we're going to stick to the liquid water on Earth, okay? And so you have salt water, fresh water, and groundwater. Those are some of the unique ways that we can have water on Earth. And just a fun fact, Earth's nickname is the blue planet because when astronauts first went to space and they looked back on Earth, it looked mostly blue because water covers about 3/4 of the Earth's surface. So there's a lot of blue going on. All right, let's take a look at the Earth's atmosphere. The layer closest to the Earth is the troposphere. This is where weather is happening and people live. Okay, so the atmosphere is cut into layers. It's a layered layer. Who knew? Yeah, this is also going to be something that we're going to revisit in more detail and depth in another unit. But for today, you need to know that the layer closest to the Earth is the troposphere in the atmosphere, and the weather happens here, people live here. For the stratosphere, that's that second layer away from the Earth, and we have the ozone layer. That ozone layer protects us from the sun's harmful UV rays, so we want to have that around. The mesosphere is the third layer up, and this is where meteorites are burning up. They'll burn most of the way up in this layer. Some of them are big enough that pieces of them can make it through and land on the Earth, but because we're 3/4 covered in water, most of the time they land in the ocean, which is awesome for us. The fourth layer up from the Earth is the thermosphere. This is the outer layer of the atmosphere. It's where satellites are orbiting, and they can orbit here because the gases are spread far apart, so there's not a whole lot of friction, so they can just move around and around the Earth, and they don't get a lot of damage to them. And then the exosphere. Exo, exit. This is where the atmosphere ends and space begins. So these are the layers of the atmosphere. And then we have the lithosphere. Boom, boom, boom. The lithosphere, this is the rocks and soil that we walk on. It's the crust of the Earth and the solid outer mantle of the Earth. We're going to talk about all of that in more detail in our plate tectonics unit. But for today, we need to know that the lithosphere that includes the rocks and soil that we walk on, the crust, which is the outer part of the Earth, that hard, rigid outer part of the Earth, and the solid outer mantle of the Earth. Okay, so we have this layer. This is our crust. This is the outer mantle. And then there are rocks and soil found on the crust. All right, the biosphere. It's all living things, guys. This includes plants, animals, bacteria. Those are all part of the biosphere. Okay, so all living things. Everything. It includes everything. So if it's living and it's on Earth, it's a part of the biosphere. The magnetosphere. This sphere is a magnetic shield. Okay, this acts like a magnetic shield and it protects the Earth from the solar winds. We're going to talk about those solar winds in our space unit and more about the magnetosphere then. But for now and for today, I want you to take a look at this picture here. This is the Earth right here in the middle. Okay, and the Earth's outer core is liquid and it's spinning fast. And as it spins, it creates a magnetic polarity to the Earth. Okay, and that extends out away from the Earth and sort of wraps us in this like spidery look. I like to think of it as Spider-Man protecting us. And look at this. Like the solar winds are flying at us, and this magnetosphere is deflecting all of the free ions and electrons that are coming from the sun away from the Earth so that we don't receive a lot of damage from those, because they can be damaging. And then it creates some other things in our atmosphere, which we're going to talk about in our atmosphere unit. So hang in there, guys. We've got a lot more diving in to do. We're just touching the surface today and talking a little bit about these spheres. So the outer core actually creates that magnetic polarity that allows the magnetosphere to exist, and it becomes this magnetic shield, and it's protecting us from those solar winds. Okay? Now, we've touched on everything very lightly, very fast. You can rewind and rewatch this recording if you need to slow it down. Pause it as you need. But what I want you guys to do is take a minute to put all of this together. I want you to make sure that on your paper you have the name of each sphere, the definition of each sphere, and a unique characteristic. So that way, you've put all of this information together and you have a good understanding of it. And then when you have finished that, you're going to go into your science course and you're going to take the 1.06 quiz. If you want to play that game that I gave you in the chat box at the beginning of class, that's a great way for you to make sure that you're really, really ready for that quiz. We also have a website. It's in the announcements in your science course. And there is a video about the spheres in there that I made for you. You guys, thank you for coming into science class today. Thank you for watching this video. And I'm going to look forward to seeing you live tomorrow. For now, go have a magnificent Monday, and I'll see you later. Bye, everybody.